So here we go with Allegiant. Forward-looking statements. I will be making many, so be forewarned. So Allegiant, as Brian mentioned, this is a spin-out from Columbus. Columbus has a large advanced stage. It's currently in permitting in French Guiana, partnered with Norgold, the Russians. During the time that we were developing Montaigne d'Or, we always had this portfolio of U.S. projects, 14 in total. And really, they just weren't getting any love. They were overshadowed by this massive resource in French Guiana. So we felt the timing was right earlier this year to spin them out into a new company, which is Allegiant. We're going to have a very busy year ahead of us. We plan to drill 10 of the 14 projects. We plan to drill 40,000 meters in total in about 150 holes. Like first mining gold, I would say that we have the three key things you're looking for in a junior mining company, and that is projects, places, people. So based on the strength of our exploration team, and I'm going to talk a lot more about him, he is the secret sauce, is Andy Wallace. He is literally a rock star in the geological industry, pardon the pun. He's been behind a number of multi-million ounce gold discoveries that later went into production. And based on the strength of Andy Wallace in the portfolio, we've been able to attract a high-profile board. And this was a promise we made when we were here last November. And since then, we closed our financing and we promised to attract a high-profile board, and we've done that. So based on Andy and the team, we've brought on Russell from Goldcorp and Newmont, Norm Pitcher from El Dorado, and we have one more seat to fill. We are in advanced discussions with one individual, which would be another coup for us. So based on the projects, places, people, we've been able to build out a great team. And without further ado, a little bit more about Andy Wallace. I talked about places, Nevada. I don't really need to get into that. It's one of the best jurisdictions in the world, and Andy and his team have a track record that is absolutely unparalleled in this jurisdiction. So a little bit about Andy. He's been behind a number of big discoveries. I think it's important to note that during the time that we were advancing Montaigne d'Or, Andy and his team were continually out there in the field generating new projects and new ideas for us to advance. So we're now sitting with 14 projects. All of these projects were delineated and targets identified by Andy Wallace and his team. And I'm not going to bore you to death with the track record, but you can see up there on that slide that it is extensive. And we feel very confident that of one of the projects, or one or several of the 10 projects we plan to drill this year, is going to result in success in the marketplace. The bulk of the drilling this year will be at Eastside. We plan to drill 40,000 meters in total, or about 150 holes. About half of that will be at Eastside. We did drill Bolo in the summer. Assays are pending. At Allegiant, we do expect to be trading within the next 2 weeks by the end of the month. So we should have results from Bolo within several weeks of listing, and Eastside results shortly after that. So phase one drilling is underway right now at Eastside. We started that in December, and that will be carrying on throughout the year. We plan to drill approximately 30,000 meters at Eastside in both phases. So drilling will be ongoing at Eastside all year long, and then you'll see other drill campaigns pick up at some of the other projects throughout the year. I think Brian is right. There has been a little bit of buzz about Allegiant, and really that is a result of Andy Wallace and his track record. So he's a very well-respected individual, not only in the geological community, but also in the capital markets. He's been behind a lot of success and created a lot of value for shareholders of many companies. So we hosted a site visit in December. It was a chilly one. Brian, you were right to avoid it. It was quite cold, but I think everybody walked away very, very impressed with Andy and his team. So Eastside is large. It's district scale. It's over 67 kilometers. This was a new discovery for us in 2013. Since then, we've drilled more than 140 holes. We have outlined a resource that I would characterize as smallish at present. It's about 750,000 ounces gold equivalent, but we see the pathway to double that this year, and that's important because you want to get above the 1 million ounce mark to get on the radar screen of any mid-tier or senior gold producers out there. In subsequent slides, I'll show you how we plan to get there, and we don't believe it's a stretch. Now, in addition to the original zone, and that's the deposit on Eastside, there are a number of other targets. There are historical resources and past production. So almost all of our work to date, and that's over $14 million at Eastside, has been focused at the original zone. But we'll be looking at some other targets moving forward. But right now our focus is on resource expansion, and that's the plan of our current Phase 1 drill program. You can see right now that's looking a plan view of the original zone. We're focused in the southwest, which is open. And this is the most important slide when it comes to Eastside. So this is a cross section going through the deposit. And the corresponding blue circle is showing where we're drilling right now in the southwest. And this is important because if we can encounter gold mineralization to the southwest, not only will we be able to add resources there, we will also be able to add the gold mineralization that isn't currently 43-101 compliant. And what we're showing there is that approximately 750,000 ounces gold is pit constrained. You can see gold mineralization does carry beyond that envelope. So if we encounter gold mineralization to the southwest, which we think is highly likely, we'll add ounces there, be able to redraw that pit outline and capture that gold mineralization that currently isn't included in that 43-101 calculation. Hence our belief that doubling resources here is not a big stretch. Bolo, we drilled this project in the summer. It was a pretty short campaign. It's one of the few projects we've drilled before in the past. We drilled it in 2013. You can see the sort of results we returned in that program, and they're pretty good. I think if you were to put out similar results today to the market, it would respond, but it was 2013. The markets were not as in good a shape as they are today. So we drilled 14 holes there this past summer. We had the sample sitting in a warehouse until the court approved the plan of arrangement, which they did several months ago. Assays are in the results, the samples are in the lab, and I would expect to report results shortly after Allegiant begins trading, which is in several weeks' time. Important to note here, the drilling to date at Bolo has been limited. No more than 40 holes, and it's mostly been focused at the South Mine Fault Zone. So if you see all those green dashes and lines throughout the property, these are other fault zones. So there are a number of other important fault zones that have seen limited testing or no testing. We went back to the South Mine Fault Zone because that is where hole BL38 returned that fantastic intercept. So most of the drilling, or all of the drilling that we did this past year, was south of BL38 in the Uncle Sam patented claim. And it's important to talk a little bit about the Uncle Sam patent claim because we did not have that claim when we drilled this in 2013. So this is a continuation of the structure where we returned those great results from hole BL38. And if we can return similar results to hole BL38 along that structure, well, I think the market will stand up and pay attention. That's a cross-section of that BL38. If you'd like to see some more geological information, please stop around the booth. I guess I'll just follow up on Bolo and say that drilling is underway at Eastside. We will plan to get back to Bolo later on, in Q1 or Q2 of this year, based on the results, and see if we want to continue to follow up in the Uncle Sam patent claim or go back and look and test some of these other structures. Now, with all of the other projects, they all offer fantastic discovery opportunity. As I mentioned, all hand-picked and targets identified by Andy Wallace. I'm confident that one or several of these 8 projects, other than Eastside and Bolo, are going to deliver the sort of results that are going to generate capital gains for shareholders. You can see our schedule ahead. It's very busy, over 40,000 meters in 150 holes. So that means we're going to have a steady flow of news throughout the year. And as I mentioned, we are expecting drill results from Bolo shortly after Allegiant begins trading, which is the end of this month, and then followed by Eastside, and then drilling essentially will be taking place all year round. So there you go. Allegiant, it's a new company. We have raised our money. We have reserved our symbol. We will begin trading in the next several weeks. Please put it up on your radar screen, follow our news, and if you have any questions, please visit me outside, and thank you once again for listening.